Did you know that more than 70% of freelancers say finding consistent work is their biggest challenge? The creative industry can feel like a constant hustle, juggling gigs, chasing payments, and navigating it all alone. But what if there was a better way, a way to stay independent while getting the power of a collective? Welcome to another episode of the Spark and Ignite Your Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Beverly Cornell, and today we are diving into new community collaboration and creative storytelling can change the way freelancers do business. Our guest today is Nadia Says, the visionary behind Your Mom's Agency, a freelancer-driven creative collective that has been making waves for 12 years. Nadia has built a thriving network that empowers creatives to land big opportunities without losing their independence. Nadia, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So you launched Your Mom's Agency on 12/12/12. What a great day. It's an iconic day. Talk about why that did and why this particular business. Talk about your origin story and the sparks that kind of ignited it all.
12/12/12, it was a lucky coincidence. We were about to launch and I saw this date was coming up and I was like, okay, we just have to do it on that day. It's just really special. And the spark is because I was already doing the work I'm doing now with the agency, but on my own and for different clients. So not under a platform, a name, a logo, etc. It was hard to get recognition for my work and for the work of others, mostly artists. It was a little bit painful and sad to see that artists were not being treated properly in many places. So I wanted to do a project where, first off, the artist would be centric. So centric artistic platform where it's not about the money or the mainstream first. It's about the vision of the artist and showing what the artist wants to do and to share with the world. And the other thing is I actually like to be independent. I don't necessarily want to work in a company. And it's the same for many people. But at the same time, like you were explaining exactly a couple of minutes ago, it's hard that, okay, we're going to come up together under the umbrella with a name, a website, a logo. And suddenly it was magical. People took us seriously.
So many solopreneurs, whether they're in the creative space or not, feel completely alone. And having a collective of your group of supporters and people to cheer you on and to help you through challenges or help with ideation or feedback, that's so important as a entrepreneur and an artist especially. I feel like we can really self-isolate and having that group of people can keep us, I don't know, I guess supported and energized. So I love this concept so much because I felt really alone at the beginning. I was an accidental entrepreneur and I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was doing. I would just figured it out and made tons of mistakes in the process. So having someone there to guide you like a mom is pretty cool. I love that so much. So how do you support them? Talk about that. What are the things that you do to help them be supported, but yet maintain this idea of independence? What are some things that you do for them?
Mainly two things. One is observe. So observe what they do, how they manage their marketing, social media, their interaction with their own clients, who might be labels, venues, festivals, etc. And in parallel, listen to them. Sometimes there's a discrepancy between what they're doing and what they think they are doing. And I can see that with how the people, crowd, company, the audience respond to what they're putting out in the world. So first step, observing, listening, and then letting them know, oh, did you know that when you do this, the outcome is not this as you think it is, the outcome is that. Are you comfortable with that? Did you want to change it? So it's not about me telling them what to do because, again, the artist is the center of the business. It's about me asking them if what they're doing right now is actually what they want to do. Are they reaching their goals? Do they need tools and tips to better reach their goals in a way that is more genuine, organic?
So what are the artists? What are the creative community? What is their biggest fears and obstacles? And how has working with you transformed them? Give me a story of how you've helped support someone and help them really flourish.
I do have success with one artist who's American but lives in Berlin. She's the queen of modular techno. So it's techno music played in clubs at night, but on this modular synthesizer. It's the synth with all the buttons you have to turn and you have to plug all the cables. So that's what she does. And so during COVID, as you can imagine, without gigging, without producing yourself in front of the audience, you lose self-confidence. You don't know why you're doing what you're doing anymore. So she was among these artists who felt like, oh, will I ever come back from this? And one of the ways to stay afloat when there was the lockdown or at all at any moment is to be present on social media. However, how do you present yourself on social media when you're miserable, stuck at home, not able to perform? And she was like, yeah, I don't know, movement where people pretend they are happy and learning every day when actually we're all miserable at home. And I told her, definitely do not pretend to be happy. That's toxic to yourself and to others. Never pretend anything, but show things that you like, that are interesting to you, because your fans love you, not for your fake happiness. She loves to do her nails. And as you can imagine, when she does her nails and it's on the modular synth, it looks amazing. So I was like, why don't you show yourself doing your nails on Instagram? People want to know how you do your amazing nails. Also, I know you keep on building your studio all the time and you receive all this equipment. Open the equipment, open the boxes, show your joy opening the box to your audience. And so she was like, okay, I'm going to try. And she did it little by little at her own pace. And her Instagram is now really big. And when gigs came back, she got lots of gigs because thanks to Instagram, nobody forgot about her. And she actually came back bigger than she was before.
I think what's so powerful about what you shared with her and what you empowered with her was this idea of, yes, life is hard, but to really focus on those moments of joy, but still stay so true to you. And a lot of entrepreneurs that we work with, we actually talk about like some of the frustrations and some of that. It's okay to share. Like, it's okay to share, but there's also the positivity in it you need to share too. So that's the real stuff. I agree with her. Like, I don't want to put out this, there's no problems, because being a creative, being a business owner, being a human is full of challenges, like legit challenges. And COVID presented some real challenges for our mental health and our purpose, like not being able to live out our purpose. And it's so hard to squash that desire to do what we're supposed to do and meant to do. We talked a lot about with our clients, like you just have to stay there so that you are top of mind when things open up again. So this was exactly that. You made sure she stayed there and relevant and made her even more in demand afterwards. That's an ideal situation with a horrible situation. Made the best of it and made the best of it. So what are some of the unexpected challenges of running like a freelancer collective, and how have you tackled it? What are some of the things that you struggle with?
I'm maybe a little bit sentimental, but when I work with people, I like to work with them forever, unless something very bad happens. But otherwise, it's not all we have one project and then we never see each other. So it's been 12 years and there are some people who have moved on. Either they moved to another city, some even changed careers. And that's completely fine, of course. But sometimes I feel a little bit sad and I wish we could stay more connected. However, it's true. People have their family, their friends, they travel, they have to work all the time. We all have to work all the time. Health issues, maybe political, society, etc. Things happen. And sometimes you lose touch. And yeah, I find that a bit difficult, a bit sad. And it's a challenge I give to myself to once or twice a year, look through my address book and just send a little note. Hey, how you doing? What's up? Don't be a stranger, even if we don't really have anything to do together for work. But let's just say hi to each other and see what happens in the future.
Gosh, I really resonate with this, Nadia, because I think people who really do what they love to do, they get all invested, right? We're all into their success and we're all into helping support them. And it's like building a baby in some way. We are very invested in how it matures. My very first client is still a client. I started my business around the same time, December of 2011. So not too far off of where you were, a year or so, but having those couple of key clients that have stayed with me all those years, gosh, I am all in because I've seen them go from really small spaces to huge spaces to having delivery services and multiple locations and all kinds of things. And I feel like I'm just so honored to be on that journey with them to help them achieve some level of success for the thing that they want to do, doing the thing that I love to do. It's really rewarding, but also really hard when people leave. And like you said, it's normal and natural. And sometimes things change, but you're right. I love that you're so committed to once or twice a year reaching out and just saying, as a human, I like you and I want to stay in touch and just connect with you. You're very good. I am not so good at that. I'm an introvert a little bit, so it's harder for me. But I do genuinely care, and I follow them on social media and I'll cheer them on along the way and things like that. But I love that you actually spend some time reaching out. I might have to do that, Nadia, after talking to you. So it's a great tip for sure. So 12 years is not a small amount of time to do something. What do you think has been the biggest evolution that you've had as a business owner over the last 12 years?
On a personal level, when I read my emails from 12 years ago and I read my emails of now, the writing style is very different. I'm way more polite and nicer now than I was. I was very business, and now I'm more like into the human side of things. I think that's good. But in terms of business, I would say UM's agency has been 4 or 5 agencies in one, because we started mostly with booking, and a year and a half, it became obvious we were never going to make money from that, not enough money. Then we did PR, which was enough money, but I wasn't so comfortable with that, because when you do PR for someone, you have to charge them whether it worked or not. And when it doesn't work, it's nobody's fault. So I was like, actually, I'm not so comfortable with this business model. Then we decided to do independent events that we commissioned ourselves for. And this was the most challenging and the most fun. Also the time where maybe in 2 years I gained 10 years because it was physical hard work. And then I was like, okay, we all love this, but first it's not so much money and also going to burn out. And this is when we did what we're doing more now, which is going a little bit into corporate. So still be independent and grassroots and diverse and all the things we love, but finding corporations, companies where we get along with these values and we can do work for them where we work in a decent condition and get decent payment for.
I love the question for so many reasons, but it's so interesting to see how people evolve over time. And this idea of burnout is so powerful in so many people's journeys. They want to do the thing they love and they end up like burning the candle at both ends and trying all these different things. I don't know if you had a point, but I've had a point where I almost said, I'm done. I started a business to have freedom, but I feel the most stressed and the craziest I've ever been. And I'm not sure this is what I was supposed to do. Those moments are so powerful though, to figure out and maybe switch gears a little bit of, is this really working for me? And being very real with yourself. And the best thing, Nadia, that I love is that we get to create the exact business that we want. So we can evolve and we can shift and we can do all of that as a business. Such good insight in that, Nadia. For those of you who are listening that have found this to be really powerful, this idea of shifting that, and what Nadia is saying, I would love for you to screenshot this episode and share it on social media and tag us. Let us know your biggest takeaway in that. Have you been burnt out? Is that something that you have felt? Have you changed direction and found more purpose and passion and profit by doing some other things? So if you're loving this conversation, leave us a review. We'd love it. It helps other people discover the magic of this podcast and interviews like Nadia's. Thank you so much. So this season's biggest question, Nadia, is how did you awaken your brand magic? Was there a moment where everything aligned and you saw the unique magic you bring to the table?
It was little moments. And I have to say, in my personal life, I always want to see myself with my own eyes. But in the business, it came from other people giving me feedback on what I was doing. Because, of course, you always do what you feel is best, right? But how do you know? Unless someone tells you, you don't know. So there were all these little moments where people told me what they thought I was doing, and turned out it was exactly what I was trying to do. I felt very validated, and I felt that I was achieving something in the correct manner. It was little moments, and these little moments keep on happening. For example, the logo. So at the beginning, we had a logo, and I was looking at the logo. And after a year, I was like, I'm so sorry. I know we have the logo, but we have to change it. And I know it's weird to change the logo, and it's not recommended, but I think we will be better off with a new logo, because I want this to last. If it's just a 2-year project, okay, keep the same logo, whatever. But I want last. And so we changed the logo, changed a bit the website. It was a lot of work, but in the end, we got something that could last another 11 years instead of becoming ugly and dated after a couple of years. So sometimes you have to take a leap of faith and be like, okay, it's not what people expect me to do, but I'm going to do it. And then there are times where people are like, yeah, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. And you're like, oh, okay, all is good now. And I found my place and my goals. It's all good.
I love that you did like the breath of doing what I'm supposed to do and everything's good. There's something really validating of feeling that sense of calm and peace and comfort. Before we got on, you said something to me that like almost made me tear up about that it's doing good. These interviews are doing good things. Like it's spreading good in the world. And gosh, like that resonated so strongly with me and gave me that little, oh, thank you. That's like reaffirming and validation for all the hard work. I've said this before on previous episodes, but if there's someone or something that you really connect with, that the person is impacting your life, or if it's a podcast or it's a business or something, tell them, because it's validation that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Be free in that, giving that away, because people work so hard. And to hear that is so important. That breath was everything, Nadia. Like that, yeah, this is the right place. I love that. I love that so much. It's really powerful. So what's been the hardest thing about marketing for you with the collective? What's the hardest challenge you've encountered with marketing?
There's been a few challenges. First challenge is, how do you convey the idea that you're a collective, not a registered company, but that everyone is independent? We all work with each other, but we also have other projects. So I think nowadays people understand, but 12 years ago, people thought it was very bizarre. So we had to market this, and we still needed clients to trust us, because we're like, oh, you're not a real company. What happens if you dissolve in the next 6 months or something? So we had to build trust with clients. Another challenge is, how do you remain independent, a little bit underground, grassroots, but still make money? Yes, we want to be grassroots. It doesn't mean we don't have to pay rent. We need to make cash to live. We want to be paid in a decent manner, but we also don't want to sell our souls for it. You have to advertise that there's a line to walk, and we know what this line is, and we hope our clients understand what that line is. And then something connected to this, for some artists, they are underground, and then they reach certain level when they have to make a decision. How mainstream or non-mainstream do I go to keep on making a living with my career? And right now I'm working with a duo from Belgium, and they are a fantastic example of how you can still be underground and grassroots and make a fantastic living and have a huge audience without sending out to any major corporation. So you just have to put a lot of thought into it, understand the market, and make sure that your audience understand as well, so they keep on following you, even if you don't go to this big giant machines where all the other famous artists go.
Do you think that's evolved a little bit, Nadia? I feel like with the proliferation of TikTok and some of these other platforms, I feel artists specifically have more reach outside of the corporation than they've ever had, which gives them some power and autonomy in their art. Do you think that has been a big factor in them having some of that grassroots still and not having to sell out to the man?
Definitely, yes. And I think it's possible nowadays to have a big enough audience. The question remains, how do you monetize how your audience loves you? Because when your audience loves you on TikTok, Spotify, you can't make a living of that, unfortunately. So the question remains of, okay, I'm big, I'm famous-ish, I have enough followers, but how can these followers support me financially? Because when they listen to my music on Spotify, Spotify makes money, but I don't. So it's about also being a good business person and informing your audience that thank you so much for listening to my music on Spotify, but just so you know, I make no money from that. So if you wish to support me, there's other ways like concerts, patrons, merchandise, and so on and so forth.
The word famous-ish is so Nadia. I'm famous-ish. But even for this podcast, we don't monetize it. And I think we put out great content all the time. So the way that people can really support the work is by sharing it or giving reviews so more people can reach it so that we can make more connections and possibly do business with people, right? That's the whole goal at the end of the day. And yeah, like there's very clear ways that you can help support an artist so that they can continue to do what they're doing. That's all part of it, Nadia. Famous-ish is not going to pay the bills. It's not going to feed the kids. That's for sure. Okay, so I have a magic hat round. It's purple. It's got sparkles. It's really super fun. I used to call it the lightning round, but I really like this better. There's lots of questions in here. I'm going to pull them and we're going to see where the conversation goes. But these are more rapid fire type questions, okay? So first question, if your brand had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Ooh, I work in music, so very difficult to make a choice. But okay, you know the song R.E.M., That's Me Standing in the Corner? That's me in the spotlight? This is exactly artists. A lot of artists have this duality of being in the shadow and wanting to be in the spotlight. So I think that would...
Beautiful answer. I love that. It's a great song too. Tell us about a time when you had to pivot and what did you learn?
So I already talked about this and I learned that as much as you love something and you've done it, if it doesn't work, you have to move on. Otherwise, your business dies.
So we're in the process of rebranding right now. When you talked about the logo change, like I'm feeling that. But I think when we talk about awakening your magic, right? And I think this new logo actually is more of our magic. So it's like we are compelled to change it. Even though it's hard and lots of work and all those things, I feel like we're finally stepping into where we're supposed to actually be. And oftentimes marketers don't give ourselves the attention we give to other people. And we have to take the time and the energy to really do ourselves justice too. How has running your business changed you as a person?
Funnily, I think it made me more compassionate. Usually when people go into business, they become tougher. For me, it's been the opposite because I work with a lot of different human beings and life happens. Sometimes you're sick, you're tired, you're sad, you can't work. And I have to manage this because I'm usually the person at the end of the process where things get done or not. So when someone is not able to do their work, it's not about me shouting at them to get it done. It's about me trying to support them on an emotional level and see if they can do it. And if they cannot do it, be like, it's okay, it happens, you will do it next time and get someone else to do the work. So yeah, I think it's made me more compassionate.
I think I'm much more empathetic because I've been on the journey and I know how hard it is. And so for me, I understand where when we push a client to do something, like to step in front of their brand when they've been hiding behind it for so long, I've had to do the same thing. So I understand, I feel it on a much deeper level than if I had never gone through all that stuff. So I think it's made me much more empathetic and compassionate as well. What's the hardest no you've ever had to say in business? And why?
It's funny, I was thinking about this just last night. It's been, I would say, 3 times that someone, an agency bigger than mine, sat me down and offered me to go into partnership. And it's very tempting because they have big offices, they have meetings, they have clients. And I said no each time because I was like, you know what, maybe I will be more comfortable for 1 or 2 years and then I will miss my independence. And each time I had to say no.
So that internal struggle of that security blanket, I think it's perceived security too, because they could change their mind at any moment, right? That's not really security in doing the thing that you want to do. And that's a very real struggle. What fear have you had to overcome to grow your business?
You were just talking about people having to put themselves in front of the brand. At the beginning, it was an agreement between all of us. No one would even tell our names to anyone. So it would just be your mom's. And at some point, it became clear when we were applying for funding, for example, that we actually needed some internal star power. So some people had to be presented as experts or whatever, public speakers. Otherwise, we would not get access to some funding, some sponsoring, some opportunities. So I had to put myself forward. I did not enjoy it at the beginning because I'm quite of a private person. But then I was like, okay, it's for the business. And also as a racialized queer woman, I think it's good. People see me. Hopefully it inspires them to come to the front as well.
You're doing some really tough work by being the front of it. I think you carry a heavier load than most. So I'm appreciative of people who step in front of their brand as a minority and fully embrace it. That's very powerful, but also really hard.
Thank you.
Share a fun fact about your business that even your most dedicated clients might not know about you and your business.
The way we came up with the name of the agency, Your Moms. So now we can make sense of it and explain it in a really nice way, in a proper marketing way. But the truth is, this name came because in French, when you say your mom to someone, it means piss off. And people kept on bothering me with the name. And at some point, I just said, ta mère, your mom. And then we were like, oh, yes, it's that. And that's how we found the name.
I love it. What is something in your business that brings you pure joy?
When an artist succeeds in doing what they wanted to do, which can be releasing a mix, an album, a video, getting funding, getting a sponsor, whatever goal they were working towards, and usually it's tough. It's a lot of physical work, emotional work, logistics work, etc. And then they get it. It's the ultimate validation. It's like we've done everything right and it was good to pursue it and not give up and believe in the project and in the artist.
I think when you see people succeed, it's again another validation, level of validation. That is the end of our Magic Hat round. I love those questions so much and I loved your answers so much. I do have a magic wand and I love to use it. And we can use it to time travel. So I'm going to wave the magic wand and we're going to go back to Nadia when you graduated high school. So 18-year-old Nadia. What are your pronouns?
She or they, either.
I want to make sure I use your correct pronouns. So what would you tell her? What advice would you give her to help you now that you didn't have then?
I would tell my younger self that I'm smarter than I think I am and I can do more than I think I can. When you're 18, you're not sure. Even if you're good at school and your parents encourage you, you always, am I good enough for that? Should I invest in this? Should I take the easier route? Also because you want to party, because you're 18. So I would tell myself, take on more challenges because you can do it.
18-year-olds have an unbelievable amount of confidence, but yet they don't. Like, it's a very interesting dichotomy. They know everything, but yet they don't know everything. So It's interesting. So if you were talking to your younger self and she could see you now, what would she say to you?
I think she would find me very strange because the way I envisioned myself at 18 was always traveling, and I still travel a bit, but not as much. I also envisioned myself doing some not serious work. So not budget, not logistics, not legal stuff, only fun stuff, artistic stuff. So I think my younger self be like, why are you doing all this budgeting in Excel spreadsheets?
Because we have to. Not because you want to. I feel the same. It's like I like the story that the budgets and the Excel sheets tell me, but I don't want to do all that. I totally agree with you. Okay, so I'm going to wave my wand again, Nadia. We're going to go far into the future. When you have passed away, I want people to remember most about working with you. What would your eulogy say? And what do you think your most significant legacy or impact will be?
Hopefully people will say that even if sometimes I was tough, I was always fair and I got things done and that they felt supported. And my legacy, it's very hard for independent artists at the moment because of all the financial, economical, societal situation. If you come from a lower or working class, being an artist is really difficult. So I make it one of my missions to make sure that artists from the middle class still exist. It's not only people born with money who keep on making art. So hopefully that will be my legacy.
I feel like people who aren't, this might be a generalization, and forgive me if I'm not in the industry, so maybe I'm making some generalizations. And if I am, correct me. But I feel like art is not something you should own from a money perspective, and that people who come from less, actually their struggle creates much more interesting art.
Generally speaking, I agree. If you're given everything on a silver plate, it's hard to express what society might be looking for as a message. If you have financial means, you can also struggle and you will have something to express. But someone who has a very easy, satisfying life that they don't have to work for is less likely to express anything interesting.
Agreed. Okay, so I'm going to wave my magic wand one more time and we're going to come back to the present time. Hope you enjoyed the journey from the past into the future. A little brief glimpse of young Nadia and the legacy. I think it's important. All the things that we do every day today impact our legacy. That vision is very interesting and important as an entrepreneur. So the last little thing I want to ask you is small business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs, I would love for you to give one strategy or thing that they can put into action right now, today, that will help them awaken their brand magic. What is something that you would give as advice to help them do that?
It's about self-confidence. You should always double and triple check your work, but you should not second guess yourself. You have to listen to your observation, imagination, your gut, your inspiration. And sometimes it's difficult because when you have unique thoughts, you think, oh, there's nothing out there like this. Maybe it's not good. But that's exactly why it's important to put it out there. So be confident, check all your work. It has to be very good work, but don't doubt yourself and put what you have to put out there.
We say clarity brings unicorn-like confidence. When you're really clear on your mission and who you serve and what you do and how you help people, your confidence, that self-confidence factor is a huge thing. It helps you stand in front of the brand. It helps you do all those other things. Plus, it helps you just show up as a guide for your customer, like your clients and your customers, right? That confidence helps other people. I've been there. I know how to do this thing, and I want to help you get to the other side of whatever it is that you want for you and your business. So yes, confidence is huge, but you need some clarity first to really get there. Like you said, doing the work, putting the time in. So before we wrap up, tell people where they can find more about you and your mom's agency, which I want to say is like now a really bad word. I love the double meaning in French. How can people get in touch with you?
So we are Your Mom's Agency on Twitter, or X, as people call it now. Also, Your Mom's Berlin on Instagram, yourmomsagency.com, the website. And if you're interested in the intersections of culture and diversity, equity, inclusion, we also have a sister NGO called DIF, DIF-EV.org. So that's also now the new branch we have to take care of DI values connected to culture.
Interesting. We're thinking about starting a nonprofit as well. So I love that. I might have to pick your brain about that process. Such wonderful things. Thank you so much, Nadia, for sharing all of this today. It's been so fun learning more about you, your journey, what lights you up, all the things. I am so excited for the work you're doing. And I'm so thankful that Saskia introduced us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, big thanks to Saskia and for everything she's done for me and for the community. Thank you for your really fun questions. And as I was saying, it's a pleasure watching the interviews. It's very uplifting.
Thank you so much, Nadia. I really hope that everyone else found this as inspiring as I did. I know that our listeners are going to walk away feeling that their journey isn't alone and so unique, that everybody has these same struggles and successes. I'm so grateful for your time today and the impact that you're making on the world. Such an incredible episode. I hope that today's episode lit a little bit of a fire on you and gave you some ideas, and most of all, inspired you all to take some action. Because here's the thing, your message matters, your work matters, and the world needs to hear what you have to say. Marketing isn't just about visibility, it's also about impact. It's about connecting the right people in a way that feels true to you. So keep showing up, keep sharing your brilliance, and keep making magic in the world. And hey, if you ever get stuck, you don't have to do this alone. So we're here to help you turn that spark into a fire. Until next time, keep sparking and igniting. Thank you so much for tuning into the Spark and Ignite Your Marketing podcast. I hope you found today's conversation or activation be something clear and actionable that you can take back to your very own business. If you found this helpful, I'd love it if you take a moment to share your thoughts in a review. Not only does this help us see what's working and what you'd like to hear more of, but it also helps other business owners just like you find the sparks that they need. And if you know someone who could use today's tips, why not share this episode with them? A little inspiration can go a long way, and together, we can help more people simplify their marketing and make their business shine.